It's over for Russell Wilson in Seattle. The only question is when. Russell Wilson made the rounds yesterday, talking to our good friend Dan Patrick, and he hosted a Zoom Q&A with reporters, and this was on the heels of our NFL insider, the great Jason La Canfora, tweeting that Russ was unhappy with his pass protection. And this was on the heels of the NFL Network over the weekend, reporting that teams were calling Seattle about Russ and his availability. Russell Wilson is usually very image conscious. He's buttoned up. He ends every interview with, "Go Hawks." So when Russ follows those reports by throwing his offensive line under the bus, and when he says he wants to be more involved in decision-making and desires more trust from his coaches, he's telling you he wants outs. When Russ is asked if he's being shopped and says, "That's a Seahawks question," that tells you everything you need to know. Russell Wilson is putting a for sale sign on himself. And look, I have no issue with the ultimate megastars being involved or being asked about players. And understand, Russ is a star, and Russ is a future Hall of Famer, but come on, there are levels here. He compared himself to LeBron and Tom Brady. Russ, you're not LeBron. You're not Tom Brady. And the Seattle Seahawks, they always give you talent. Let's be honest here. Russell Wilson struggled mightily down the stretch last year. Pete Carroll and John Schneider have always been active. They always make a ton of moves. They always win a ton of games. This is not Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers here. I have always believed, and I've said as much on Time to Shine, Russ jealous of the credit that future Hall of Famer Pete Carroll received, or that the defense received. There's always been an underbelly of unhappiness or jealousy or wanting a better offensive coordinator. Russ's contract negotiations have always been a struggle. Now, the cap hit for this year is astronomical if he's traded, but other teams should absolutely shoot their shot. I think the Raiders make a ton of sense. There have always been rumors that Russ and Sierra want to go to New York. The Giants have always been linked to Russell Wilson. The Texans, the Miami Dolphins, on and off the field, that makes a ton of sense. The Carolina Panthers. I never thought Russ would finish his career in Seattle. There have always been talks of uneasiness. He let you know that he wants out. The Seattle Seahawks are not close to being a Super Bowl team. Now is absolutely the time to field offers. Welcome back, Time to Shine. I've got a lot to get off my chest on this Wednesday, and the Philadelphia Eagles have a Carson Wentz problem. And listen, Howie Roseman is asking for a Matthew Stafford type of return for Carson Wentz. It's just not going to happen. Look, I can appreciate Howie asking, right? 2017, before he ripped up his knee, Wentz was going to get my vote for MVP. 2019, especially end of the season, carrying a bunch of no-names into the postseason, Carson Wentz was a star. And I called him a star, 2017, 2019. 2020, you see the numbers on the screen? You could make the case he was the single worst quarterback in the entire National Football League. So Howie Roseman needs to kind of get a grip and get a clue. This needs to end. They need to get Carson Wentz off of the football team. And they also need to do it, in my opinion, sooner than later. First of all, in terms of the finances, he can't be on the roster when the league year starts, so that's coming up in March. But in terms of esteem, look, Nick Sirianni was an ant hire and had an awful press conference, and, Adam Gase and Jim Tom Sula were laughing at him. And now you're in a situation where you're the laughingstock of the league. And you need to make sure that these teams that are interested don't study that 2020 tape and say, why do I want Carson Wentz? Now, it sounds like the Bears and the Indianapolis Colts are very interested in Wentz. Listen, I think Carson Wentz in Chicago, Nightmare. Absolute nightmare. No offensive line, no receivers. I think Allen Robinson's going to leave. You got Matt Nagy coaching for his job. You got Ryan Pace GMing for his job. That team is a mess, a disaster. Indianapolis, I think he'd be great. I think reuniting with Frank Reich, who was his offensive coordinator in 2017 in Philadelphia, I think that would be awesome. Look, I would trade, if I'm Indianapolis, a first-round pick for Carson Wentz, but just one. I mean, let's be crystal clear here. Just one first-round pick. I mean, I think in the market of Chicago, with that media and the pressure and everything I just described, disaster. Indianapolis, Quentin Nelson, Frank Reich, Jonathan Taylor, phenomenal defense, ready to rock and roll. Howie needs to realize he needs to make this trade sooner than later and realize the reason you're going to trade him is because Jalen Hurts is better right now in Philly. Wentz can never take another snap in Philadelphia. And you need to make sure that you end this and rip the Band-Aid off. It's go time. You need to trade Carson Wentz right now. Patrick Mahomes reportedly had turf toe surgery today, which is hardly a surprise. And Mahomes was pretty honest talking to the press in terms of what's next for Kansas City. And he was pretty outspoken when the team got back to KC. He said there's a book on beating the Chiefs, and teams are going to try and copy the Bucs. Now, being fair, Tampa has special defensive talent and special coaching under Todd Bowles, so it's going to be easier said than done. Super Bowl 55 was a total dud. It was Mahomes' worst game ever. The line was absolutely pathetic and the root of all evil. And the Chiefs dynasty, the plan certainly took a bit of a detour with the loss. Kansas City needs more depth and talent on the offensive line and that linebacker. But look, they're loaded and they're up against the salary cap. And the draft needs to be a weapon for them to add players at those aforementioned positions because the AFC is loaded. And Buffalo and Baltimore and Cleveland all have major elements of what the Buccaneers do. And in many areas, they're better than Tampa. The AFC is loaded and tougher at the top than the NFC. Heck, the Chargers seriously won't be a pushover with Justin Herbert and a new head coach and Derwin James coming back and Bosa and Ingram chasing around Patrick Mahomes. Tennessee would be included if they get a pass rush in the offseason. And if Indy gets the right quarterback, they are ready to rock and roll. It is easy to say the Chiefs are the Chiefs and Mahomes is Mahomes, but nothing will be easy or automatic when it comes to Kansas City getting back to the big game. How great is that? That the Tampa Bay Buccaneers celebrated their title in a responsible fashion in a pandemic today on boats and in Tampa with the beautiful weather. That just feels about right. I think the Buccaneers have a brilliant opportunity to be even better next year. And a lot of it starts with Mike Evans. He has put up Hall of Fame numbers. He finally wins a championship when Tom Brady comes to town. And listen, how great is that? He's willing to restructure his deal because he gets it. He's had a taste of winning, and he wants his running mate, Chris Godwin, back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'll stress this again, with a full offseason and familiarity with his teammates and coaches, Tom Brady should absolutely unequivocally be better in 2021. Jason Light brilliantly gave Tom Brady whatever he wanted, whatever he needed. And he will again. Now, Godwin's going to have a tough choice to make, and chances are he will get paid more elsewhere. Think Baltimore or Miami. But even if he leaves and they want to bring Godwin back, listen, you bring back Antonio Brown to go with Evans and Scotty Miller and young Tyler Johnson and Gronk and Cameron Braid, and bam, you're in business once again. I have to imagine that playoff Lenny's going to be back as Leonard Fournette lived up to his talent and changed his reputation. I was thrilled for Leonard Fournette. Shaq Barrett is a must re-sign. He was franchised last year, which was smart, and you kind of wanted to see him do it again, and boy, did he ever do it again. I can't see him leaving. I can't see Levante David leaving after being Mr. Buccaneer forever, and now finally winning. And here's the truth. Tampa's going to be the it team to sign players and win. Players, everyone's going to want to flock to Tampa and play with Tom Brady. Everyone loves the parade and being out on the water. And you know that Tom Brady is going to be burning to get back to the big game over the next couple of years. Anyone want to bet against him?